Bleachers. I'm Jason. He's Roger, the Bobblehead King. And today we're going to just give you a brief update on what's going on with the MLB and as well as something cool going on with the NHL. So, Roger, I guess maybe you want to mention real quick that we're going to try to have somebody name our show, right?
Well, exactly. There have been ideas that we came up with, but we thought it'd be sort of cool for the audience to come up with some kind of a special name, sports talk with the two other idiots or something along those lines. As long as it's not too nasty, we'll use it. But there have been a couple suggestions, and, we're open to suggestions. So let's, play with it and see what we can get out of the audience. And, maybe pick a favorite out of those and go with it. So
I have my new favorite toy here.
And that's you want to explain real quickly what that is going to mean?
That's going to mean that Roger wants me to keep him from rambling too much. So every time he rambles too much, we got this. There you go. And then he'll know that I need to talk.
You know what?
That's going to keep us on track. So
real quick, Jason.
See, I already used it. All right. So
we just want to make sure it's working.
We're talking about naming the show. People can do that by either commenting below or Facebooking in the link that you send out. So is that the best way to send their ideas? Yeah. And then the one with the most likes is probably the one that we'll go with, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then then you get what? You get bragging rights.
You get bragging rights and a free tour of the Bobblehead Museum if you live in the Cincinnati area.
There you go. All right. So moving on, MLB. So their season, it looks like that in the previous weeks, which I didn't get to mention on our other interview, but basically the owners are still, I think, going at it with the players. But their proposal looks like it's going to be. Could start maybe the 4th of July weekend, and they're looking at expanding the playoffs from 10 to 14 games, doing an 82 game season possibly. They're using just home stadiums in areas that have local and state government approval, so they won't play home games everywhere. And then some kind of maybe a second spring training that might begin in June or early July, a universal designated hitter, and geographical schedules, so they'll play only in division opponents, and I think they're going to change the divisions possibly, and a 30-man roster with a taxi squad that could have up to 50 players available. So what are your thoughts on that, Roger?
Well, you know what, as we said in our first podcast the other day, I wasn't in favor of, trying to scrap a season out of this. And I was going to say, let's just, not have a season. And it goes down as just an awful year in every way, really, with what's been going on around the world. But the more I think about it, people really need it. I think the schedule is adequate, anywhere from 80 to 100 games. You might have a couple doubleheaders per week. I do like, I won't say love, but I do really like the regional geographic setup that they have.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, they're splitting it right down exactly east, west, midwest. Of course, there's not as many western teams, so they're feeding a little bit into the south with Houston and Texas, I believe. But overall, it's a good money saver as far as travel. It'll create some rivals. Who knows? This might turn out to be something out of the ordinary that they're going to use.
Yeah, they might use it next season in the future. I think it's great. It's kind of like it's a modern take on the league. I think that part is good. The thing that I think is going to be the most controversial here is, from my point of view, the universal designated hitter.
Yeah. I'm not a favor of designated hitting. It's okay to have one league have it in one league, and people will say, well, you know what, they should switch it to, both leagues. Well, if you go by that argument, the National League and American League used to, not have it, and the American League decided to have it. I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with having it in universal baseball and having everybody use it.
Is it still, even in the American League right now, before these changes come in, is it optional or do they have to use a designated hitter for their pitcher?
They don't have to use a designated hitter for the pitcher. They can use it for any player, if that's your question. As far as if they're playing a baseball game, in the National League ballpark, for example, and you're not going to have it, both teams wouldn't have it like they, do now. But as I said before, I think I'm an old school type of guy, and I think tradition would have a no designated hitter at all. But
yeah, I like that. I mean, you got pitchers out there that can hit, was it Baumgartner?
Mike Lorenzen here in Cincinnati can hit. You got other pitchers. It's just a strategy. The strategy is what I like. Double. When you make double switches during the end of the game or whatever, it all affects managing. With a designated hitter, I don't like it. I like I understand people saying, well, all he's doing is standing up there and taking 3 strikes. Well, you know what? Why don't they give him a little more hitting during, practice, and maybe, that can change a little.
Yep. And then, so it looks like, that they're probably trying to start in July, maybe do a second spring training in June. But in the meantime, what they're going to have going on TV, MLB Network and stuff like that, it's going to start, I believe Saturday, 7 a.m. They've got play ball. So they got the Nationals World Series celebration thing going on, and they're going to do it virtually. So they're going to do it on TV, on MLB Network and Facebook, and Nationals.com, and I think their YouTube channels as well. Are you looking for the air horn?
No, I'm not. I'm not looking for the air horn. I'm looking for the shark.
Oh, Baby Shark.
Baby Shark, my favorite song now.
Maybe that could be our theme song. I don't know. No, it's probably.
Okay.
I don't know who to pay for that. So they've got starting I think it's it looks like 7 a.m. I'm Sunday. They will have stuff all day, and they've got play ball with Juan Soto and Adam Eaton and Carter Kieboom on 7 a.m. 7:30. They've got the 2019 National League wild card game, and then 9:30 that they've got the game 4 of the 19 National League Division Series, and then they've got after that on at 12 they've got game 5 of the Championship Series, and 2 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern they've got game 6 of the 19 World Series. 5 p.m. they've got the 2019 World Series film. 7 p.m. is the actual ceremony. So Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, your time.
And do you know the little trivia? Speaking of the World Series from last year, the big trivia question from last year? Or am I going to tell you?
Well, after the World Series ceremony, they're going to show Game 7 at 8. So.
Okay, but what will never happen? What will never happen again, probably in the history of baseball, that happened last year in the World Series?
The Nationals won?
Well, that is a first, but no, seriously, the home team lost every game.
Yeah,
The home team lost every game in a 7-game series. That will never happen. Well, it will never be.
It could happen again.
Yeah, it could happen again, but what are the odds of that?
Not likely. That's kind of unusual, yeah.
So there's a little bit of trivia.
Yeah, I mean, are you excited for watching, the replays and then the ceremony?
The Cubs weren't in it. I'm not interested. or the Reds, for that matter. No, if the Cubs or Reds ain't in it, I'm not watching.
Well, I mean, it's something to do. It's something to watch if you're a baseball fan. I think, they're good. They were good games. So I think, watching
it was an exciting series. There's no question about it. No question about it. A lot of excitement. And as it turned out, I'm sure a lot of fans may not have been rooting for the Nationals, even though they were probably the team, the sentimental favorite. But with all that went on with the Astros in the offseason about the cheating that they did and banging the drums, a lot of people are glad that they did not win. So there.
All right, moving on. We got some hockey news. So it looks like that the NHL commissioner, Gary, is it Bettman? Bettman.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how you say that. Is looking at, they're facing challenges when they're trying to restart the season. They've got like 17% of their players are stuck outside of North America, and because of travel restrictions, they can't come here. So that's one problem that they're facing. And the other thing he said that they're looking at is facilities that can handle a dozen or so teams in one location that they can use. So they're not going to, again, they won't play at every location either, and there won't be any fans or anything like that. So they're trying to figure that stuff out, and they may or may not just jump straight into the playoffs. So that's the latest news with where the NHL season is at. How do you feel about that, Roger? I mean, should they just scrap it or should they come back?
My gut instinct says scrap the season. I've been saying that on, the NBA, the NHL, baseball and football still has the opportunity to play. But I'm a hockey fan. To me, the hockey playoffs, there's nothing like them. I know a lot of people agree who do watch a game. Winning a 16 games in a span of like 2 months when it's like, fierce action, to me is great. But, if they can make it feasible to work, yeah, I would jump right into the playoffs. So I would not finish the regular season. Same in the NBA. I would not finish the NBA, NHL seasons. I would take the playoff teams as they are represented right now and just say, that's the way it is. We're not going to bring back a team that's already out of the playoff picture to play, 10 more games or whatever.
Yeah, there's a little bit of risk involved with that. So I agree. I mean, I think jumping straight into the playoffs, they have enough games, I think, to make that decision. Some people may not be happy with that, but I agree. I think that's probably the best thing. But there's also something else that NHL is doing on NHL. I think it's going to be NHL.com and SPORTSNET. They're going to start airing. They're airing a 5-part series. It's first airing, I believe, this Friday.
Yeah.
This Friday, 5 p.m. And then it re-airs on Tuesdays on NBC Sports Network and NHL Network at 5 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. This is Eastern time. And what they're doing is they're doing this series called Who Wore It Best. And so they're talking about Wayne Gretzky was the best to ever wear number 99, and his number is universally retired across the league. And then they're looking at all these other numbers, like basically 1 through 98. But the one that they were looking at
actually,
this week
0-0.
Yeah.
Are there 0-0s in hockey? I'm not sure if there are not, actually.
I don't know. The double goose egg. There might be.
If somebody knows out there of a 0-0, I can't think of any 0-0s out in any sports for that matter, but I'm sure there might be. But go ahead.
So what they were looking at, I guess this week, what they're going to be looking at is number 31. And you've got the goalies, Billy Smith, Grant Furh, and Carey Price are their top 3. So what do you think about that? Who do you think's going to win?
Well, I like the idea. I don't know if you went into it a lot here. I was thinking, along the lines of, all the numbers. You don't know all the numbers of every player. Obviously, 99 is something that most people. Number 4, Bobby Orr. You got 77 with, there we go. We just went off the air for a second on this end. I had a call coming on my phone here. But I think the bottom line is it's giving a chance for the fans to see the top 3 picks that the writers did. And then is it the fans that are actually then going to vote for because I think of those 3, you can't go anywhere except for Grant Furh. I mean, the guy has all the Stanley Cup rings. Of course, he had a lot of Hall of Fame players around him. But you give me those 3, and I take Grant Furh all 3 times.
Yeah. I think Grant Furh is probably going to win, too. And again, it was Grant Furh, Carey Price, or Billy Smith. And so, hey, I think the best to wear number 66 is Mario Lemieux. That's my opinion. So,
Jason, I got more toys than you do.
I'm sure you do. Yeah.
You can tell in the background here with my bobbleheads. But okay, go ahead.
All right. So, I'm just curious. What do you guys think? What the audience thinks? What is your favorite number? Who's your favorite player? What's their number? Do you think they're going to get picked in this TV show? It's a 5-part series. I don't know if they're going to do every number. It doesn't say, but that'd be cool if they did. I doubt they will. If it's a 5-part series, they probably won't get into it every number.
But now, if they don't do every number, what number should they not do? Because on a hockey roster, normally you're from 1 to 30, or maybe even a little higher, maybe 1 to 35. So most of the numbers are going to be in that. And if you're going to miss out on numbers, then the players that wore those numbers are going to say, hey, why didn't you use our number? So I don't know if the audience wants to help us out on that one. We're not sure of how it's actually going to pan out, but it's a neat idea. I mean, with this pandemic going on, there's a lot of good ideas. It's unfortunately you had to take this to present this, but we got a lot of ideas out there with sports now.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of innovation going on, and I'm excited. I'm probably going to try to watch some of it, and then the baseball thing this weekend too. So there's a lot going on, and I think that's pretty much what we wanted to talk about today. There was some NBA and NFL. I don't know if do you want to get into that, Roger, or no?
Well, you know what? Basically, what we talked about the MLB, for example, of what they're coming up with. I think they've taken a little bit of a lower recognition level, if that's the proper way to put it. They've laid low a lot lately. They're not bringing it up quite as much, I think. And the NBA is really silent, and the NHL hasn't talked at all as far as what they're going to do. And the NFL seems to be getting all the news. But I would say let's save it for another. Well, we got a rainy day here in Cincinnati, so let's save that for another time. It's all yours. You're leading. You're leading.
You were gonna wrap up just then because you were going on and on. I thought you had it. You had it, Roger.
Roger has a lot of things, but he doesn't have it.
Whatever it is. Whatever it is.
But all right. No, I think we'll wait on that. I think we'll wait on that. Just again, this is our second broadcast already. I feel better about this one than the other one. And we're always open to, if you do like the show, one thing I would like to ask the audience, and I got quite a good response. I sent emails, I sent Facebook messages to maybe everybody I know, about 2 people that are friends of mine. But no, seriously, I sent it out and I got a pretty good response. All we ask is if you like or dislike, leave it. If you can subscribe, leave that. A thumbs up, thumbs down as well. So we want
we want feedback in general.
Yeah, and we want answers. We want to name this show. We thought the other name was sort of a little bit boring, which Jason and I are normally boring type of guys. I mean, look at us. I mean, talking sports with 2 dorks. We thought of that. If you like that, go ahead.
Just comment below, what you like, and then we'll see if you see one that you do like that somebody commented, maybe give it a thumbs up, and then we'll know, whichever one gets the most likes is probably maybe the one that we'll go with. So
we did get one viewer out there that did talk to me, messaged me and said that, how can I answer questions? Because sometimes we do bring up questions that we don't really know.
Yeah, like, do I hate Ohio State? I don't actually hate them, no. I'm just not a huge fan. I just hated that everybody assumed that I had to be a super fan of Ohio State because I'm from Ohio.
We'll talk to Ohio State fans about that because they say you should. And those fans that are listening or watching that know me from Ohio State, this is for you. But I think that we've accomplished what we wanted, a little bit better, hopefully, this show. And
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it back to you because I want you to close. I don't want to close anymore. I want you to close.
No, you should close.
You want me to close? Okay. I'll just say this. I'll just say this. My favorite number is 99. Guys, take care and stay safe.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you probably next week.